Oh, greetings. I'm Boris Johnson, and we are back in the kitchen today because we're going to be learning how to make a woke loaf. Okay, a woke loaf. I'm wearing shorts, but you can't see that. For today's recipe, we're going to need a loaf tin, small loaf tin, a wooden spoon, a mixing bowl, and an ardent hatred for differing opinions. We're going to start off by adding 225 grams of invented pronouns. Okay, get those invented pronouns in there, and you give them a good whisk around until they're nice and fluffy, and they make no sense whatsoever. So when they make no sense whatsoever, and you can actually see a Z and a Z, and they appear to be acceptable pronouns, that's when we need to add 225 grams of intolerance. I've gone for a Muscovado intolerance because it gives a nice, rich and deep intolerant taste. But some do insist that caster intolerance is supreme. But if we're being honest, they're just white supremacists. Now, you want to crush that around, mix that in and crush it around until it starts to sound like you're walking down a pea shingle driveway. Yes, that's it. Nice and crunchy. That's what you want. Absolutely. Very important. That's very important. Crunch it around until it sounds like you're walking down a pea shingle driveway. Get it all in there, of course. Now, keep going until you've got a proper safe space for bizarre pronouns. One which is fortressed by a saccharine intolerance. Yes. Now the next step is to disturb that safe space, but don't worry, only for a brief moment, to make it more flexible and absorbent to, logical criticisms, for instance. And we do so by adding 3 trigger warnings. Okay, 1 trigger warning, it'll be 2 trigger warnings, 2 trigger warnings, and of course, 3 trigger warnings, 3 trigger warnings. Now you beat those trigger warnings in. And now we have a bizarre pronoun, ravaged intolerance, that becomes triggered, even if you criticize it just a little bit. And if you think at this stage that your batter, that your mix would still be able to handle constructive criticism, then bin it, okay? At this stage, no point in going on. It will never be properly woke. Now, when perfectly soppy and spineless when it comes to handling criticism, now we need to strengthen and sturdy the mix up by adding 225 grams of moral righteousness. Now, remember, when you get moral righteousness, make sure you get the unearned variety, or once again, it won't be woke. Stir that in. Now, fold that in right through the corporations and all the institutions until the unearned moral righteousness, immune to critique, of course, now because of the trigger warnings, has completely consumed the once batter-like mix of intolerance about pronouns. Now that's given it some backbone. Yes, some backbone, some structure. It's given it some self-belief, and now it's more absorbent to the blows of logic. Look, just sucks them up nice and proper. There's no way you're going to disturb this anymore with logic. Because even though it's still subtle enough to absorb the logical blows, the moral righteousness, unearned, has made sure that you can now, it has a military-like order, military-like order and organization. And that makes it far more dangerously delicious. Right, at this stage, you can put it into your loaf tin and bake it for, well, I don't actually know, so just use your intuition if need be. Anyway, when you're done, you'll probably have something that looks like this, a perfectly baked woke loaf. Now, I like to decorate mine with genders, because there's hundreds and thousands of those. Okay, and there we are, perfectly woke loaf, ready to eat and destroy society from within. Okay, so I've been Boris Johnson. Please join me again in the kitchen another time. Take good care of yourselves.